Hi everyone, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Nick.
And you're listening to It Takes Two, the podcast where two people take two movies with the same plot or premise and watch and discuss them.
Merry Candle Nights.
Oh no, someone's been listening to the McAvoy Brothers.
It's that time of year again when we approach the incoming new year. So we're covering off Hallmark Christmas movies.
Mm-hmm.
And in this episode, we're covering off 2010. I don't know why I said it that way. November Christmas and 2012's A Christmas Heart. Both movies about parents, family, community, and illnesses, mainly about children.
Yeah. What's funny to me is, I'm going to get into the trivia immediately, because there's not a lot of it, but this is just like a part of the trivia. So first of all, The Christmas Heart was actually written by a guy named Michael Heaton, who I've looked into him. He hasn't done anything else, but his sister is Patricia Heaton, who played the mom in Everybody Loves Raymond and The Middle. So people know her. And apparently he wrote it and pitched it to Hollywood executives. And they all said no. And then his sister was like, hey, we should send it to Hallmark. And she sent it to Hallmark. And they purchased it and made it. And the reason I'm talking about this so early on is I can only imagine that the Hallmark executives read this script treatment and said, oh yeah, we made this movie 2 years ago, let's just make it again. Because there's so many elements that are just weirdly the same. And I don't understand why it was made 2 years later by the same company.
Yeah, I think this is the first time we've covered off two movies, both made by Hallmark, that have the same plot so similar.
I mean, we've done Hallmark movies that are very similar, but they're normally like 10 years apart or something. Yeah. These are just so close together. There was only like one Christmas season between them. And they were like, yeah, no problem. Let's just make that same movie again.
It's so funny because we watched A Christmas Heart first.
Yeah.
We usually watch the lower rated one first. It was the same standard as a Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
It had the usually too high a tempo music in scenes where it doesn't need it. There was like
You've got to have constant music.
Constant backing track, even though the scenes are supposed to be like dire, because it's always very super serious in these movies. And it's so funny to me watching Hallmark movies over these years, since we've been doing this podcast, of how they don't understand the tone of the movie they're making. Because you have sequences in all of these movies where it's like supposed to be gripping the audience and supposed to be like pulling you by your heartstrings. Mm-hmm. And there's just like this up-tempo, like copyright-free music
it's just like
playing.
I know they do, I think, have composers on staff, but I think they most just like bulk compose and then insert them wherever, because it really just feels like someone grasping for whatever copyright-free music they can stick in there.
And it was so weird watching The Christmas Heart, because there were scenes in this movie that are supposed to be super gritty and dirty and real. And there are other scenes in it that are so comically stupid that you're like, am I supposed to be laughing or just like completely pulled out of immersion here? And like, there's so many plot lines in this entire movie.
Yeah, they absolutely just like ditch some plot lines. Because there's a whole, it's introduced at the beginning that the family are struggling. The dad was saying he's getting less clients, so he's getting less income, but the bills are going up, the insurance is going up, stuff like that. And then obviously we know that there's going to be a health complication with their child. And in America, that's very expensive. But Extremely. Then it's never brought up. I thought they were going to do you remember the movie... Was it Christmas Land? I don't know. We've seen too many of these. There was one of them where, like, the whole neighborhood got together to, like, raise money for her to buy her father's Christmas tree
Yeah, they
farm
just
or something.
like got their pocket money and it was enough.
Yeah, I thought that's what was going to happen because it was all about this community coming together. Because both of these are set, I don't know, I was going to say both of these are set rurally, but actually, I think the Christmas Heart is set in Cincinnati, Ohio, is that right? But I think they're like deep in the suburbs.
Yeah, because
they're
like,
not like...
the subplot is set in Detroit.
And
the main group of people you're following with the child and the community is set in Cleveland.
Oh, Cleveland, Ohio,
and
right.
the other one was filmed in Nova Scotia, but it's supposed to be set in Rhode Island.
Oh, yeah, and the one that's set in Cleveland is filmed in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Yeah.
So they're both filmed in Canada.
The true American cities. Canada.
Winnipeg and I think Wolfgang, Nova Scotia, or something like that. Wolfburg.
Okay, let me just dive right in. Spoilers, obviously, every episode we've ever covered off has spoilers to the movies. So basically, both premises start off with you have a struggling family. They're struggling with, one is like the fact that the dad is a snow plow driver, and that's their only source of income, apparently, for two kids in suburbia. Yep. And the other one is just the kid has cancer. That is like the opening plot of the movie.
Yeah.
Is she has cancer.
Well, actually, the opening of November Christmas is...
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Stupid, because it opens with her as an adult reading a children's book she's written to a bunch of kids. So you know plot. She's surviving.
They spoil the plot of their own movie in the plot of their own movie.
It's literally the opening scene is about her writing. She's written a book called November Christmas about her surviving cancer at Christmas. And you're like, oh, okay, well... You've just taken all the, like, emotional, turmoil out of this movie.
I have watched enough movies in the time of this podcast and in my own personal life before I met Lisa. After
we met Leaf.
Yeah. And when you are doing the plot in a way that is to try and involve the audience in some sort of like, oh my god, is this person going to live? Is this person going to die? If you are spoiling the fact that they do survive, make it ambiguous.
Yeah.
It could have easily... So there's a older girl who's struggling, small town. Sam Elliott's in this movie and he is very much a... What's the way to put it? He seems like he's like a wizard. I'll get into why he's a wizard.
Gandalf.
He's like Gandalf. He's just like walking into other people's lives and fixing them. It's so bananas, but it's just like, I don't think Sam Elliott was given...
Sam Elliott.
I don't think Sam Elliott was given the script or like direction. He just got to do whatever the hell he wanted.
Just Sam Elliott walking in like, so, I know what's going on in your life and I'm going to save you.
Overarchingly, there's all these subplots in November Christmas, right? Sam Elliott, his wife, their dead child, the uncle who runs a diner, which seems to be the only restaurant in this town, and his niece, who parents sort of like, either the father wasn't in the picture and the mother disappeared when she was getting in trouble with the law, and he's like looking after her, but he's like, you know, old school, so it's like tough love, where she's like getting criticized for being lazy at work because she works in the diner, criticism for, you know, not being allowed to drive the car, you know, because he doesn't trust her. But it's not about that. It's about, that's how she takes it because she's a teenage girl. But in reality, he's like getting her to earn things because life, unfortunately, is transactional. And he's trying to teach her that she's not going to just get what she wants when she wants it.
Yeah.
She has to earn these things. And if they'd taken an actor who was the same complexion of the little girl, because we know she's blonde and the girl reading the book is blonde, if she'd had blonde hair, and I'm like, this is just, you know, it could have been easily dyed or, you know, wig, whatever. So it was ambiguous because you don't get the name of the author when she's reading this child's book to the library
and I did think they were doing that because I was like, the opening scene, I was like, well, this is a little girl grown up, and then they introduced that this teenager wants to be a writer and wants to write children's books, and I was like, oh, okay, here's ambiguous, and then they cut back to the thing, and she's like, yes, it was me who had cancer and me who... And I was like, okay, well then why are you telling me this?
There's no...
Give me the ambiguity.
There's no risk at the end of the movie where they're like, oh my god,
she's fine.
Her cancer's come back. She's going to die.
She's going to be like this 30-year-old, telling the story.
I think she's like 25 because she's...
Yeah, it's 15 years later. I don't remember how old she's supposed to be at the beginning.
I just figured it out. You could have just given her like a punk rock like hair dye, like drastic colours, and it would have been sorted.
Yeah. Literally, because like she looked enough like the other girl that like you go like, oh, it could be her. But
there is so much set up in A Christmas Heart. So much set up of like the next door neighbours have this weird rivalry, and the rivalry is because like both of the grumpy guy in town, his wife died.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get along with the community anymore. And then it's like this heartfelt moment in both these movies where like the guy who's on the head of the community, the street, is like reaching out to them. It's just like...
me and my wife used to be best friends with you and your wife. What happened? And this literally conversation happened in both these movies.
The one with Sam Elliott feels less forced because they're like in a car ride together, so they're like trapped together, so it's like the perfect time because I've obviously played the weather game of like talking about nothing for X amount of time, and it's only really at the last sort of end of a road trip when you start getting into really gritty details. Unless you're like me and my best friend who, whenever we're on a road trip, it's just like instantly like we've continued on a conversation that we paused like 6 months earlier.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's interesting though that like the relationship feels more natural in that movie because in the Christmas Heart, the grumpy guy is just set up as like a foil to be grumpy all the time, and then they have this conversation where they're like, you and your wife were our best friends. Whereas in November Christmas, the guy is kind of set up to be grumpy, and people don't talk to him a lot. But Sam Elliott shows up and he's like, hey, this family who are our neighbors, they need our help.
Yeah.
Can you do me a favor? Does your nephew still grow pumpkins? And they go off together, and it's that like when they clearly haven't really been speaking, because there's a little bit of tension between them in the diner when they both want the muffin or whatever. It's just so browsing. Stupid. But like, there's this little bit of tension introduced, and they're clearly not really on speaking terms, but it's like an awkwardness, not a like anger or anything. But it's this implication that they haven't really spoken in years, but that he knows he could turn up at this guy's doorstep and say, hey, I need your help, and the guy will help him. And that feels like a lot of old friendships, you know what I mean? That feels very natural, as opposed to like town grump who complains about everything, and then it's like, well, we have to have a redemption.
The guy who plays the grump in A Christmas Heart, and I do not remember any of the people's names, and I'm looking at this cast list. I don't remember
any characters' names.
I'm looking at this cast list, and I'm like, that doesn't help me.
I don't think I even put names in my notes. I think I was like, yeah, Sam Elliott's son died,
there's a moment in it, and I remember saying this out loud because we were playing off each other during watching this movie.
Yeah, the grumpy man in The Christmas Heart, I have written his name down as Grinch Man over and over.
He looks like melted Tom Hanks.
Oh yeah, he did look like melted Tom Hanks. I forgot that.
Just picture Tom Hanks in your mind now.
Picture a wax figure of Tom Hanks that's been left
from Castaway.
That's been left too close to the radiator.
Yeah. He's just
and that's this guy.
Yeah. It was just like not even discount Tom Hanks. It's like melted Tom Hanks. And there was so many Chekhov's gun moments in this entire movie in Christmas Heart that all play out perfectly in like the final Act 3.
Oh yeah, of course.
And it is so stupid. And it annoyed the shit out of me when we were watching it.
Except for the financial issues, which never come up again.
Yeah, the financial issues never come up again.
They introduce like 7 different plot lines.
Yeah.
And then they're all like, oh, and now all the dominoes are going to fall.
Okay, let's talk about Jimmy.
Jimmy the Crimmy. Jimmy
the Crimmy, the gambling addict who's got
with a heart of gold.
So when I was talking about how the tone of this movie doesn't play out to the music, we have the subplot line of Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers, Jimmy's heart is what saves Christmas.
Yeah.
How we get to Jimmy being dead and donating said heart is the most bizarrest subplot.
So convoluted.
It's bananas. So, here's how I gleaned it. Jimmy has a gambling addiction.
Right.
Jimmy is terrible at gambling.
Yeah.
They are going to murder Jimmy if he doesn't get out of town because he's in so much gambling debt with people you don't want to be in debt with.
Jimmy has a pregnant girlfriend and he tries to convince her to move to Florida and she says, sure, can we wait till I've had this baby?
And he's like, well, if I do, I'm going to get murdered by gangsters.
But he doesn't tell her that.
No. So he goes to borrow money off his mother. And his mother, there's the very same dynamic as there is in Requiem for a Dream, where he is the sleazy criminal son and she is like just trying to live her life.
She's kind of an asshole, though.
Oh my god. But anyway. So he rocks up after speaking to his... This happens in, like, different cuts, by the way. This is not one continuous storyline in the movie.
Yeah. It like, cuts between all of these different, like, 7 or 8 plot lines.
Yeah. And you have Jimmy being, like, to his pregnant girlfriend, like, I'm going to move to Florida to get a job. And his mum's like, how's it going at the phone repair store? And he's like, oh, I don't work there anymore, Ma. Can I have, like, all of your money?
And she's like, you should have done better in school. And he's like, so I could be a phone repairman?
Yeah. So
also, he steals a plant from her hallway to give her, which is so fun. And then someone immediately calls her and says, someone stole a plant from the hallway.
Hey, your sleazy scuns in the building and there's a plant missing. Can we just, like, get you to put the 2 and 2 together? Can you just return the fucking plant he stole? Because he's the only criminal in the entire of Detroit. So...
a notoriously crime-free city.
Yeah. So anyway... how Jimmy dies. Jimmy goes to meet up with his buddy, who he clearly is helping him because he's like giving him money to get the hell out of Detroit. And you know, it's that old adage of like, don't come back. But he can't because his pregnant girlfriend's there, sleeping on a couch, and he like buys her a blanket because she's cold. The problem is that whatever sets they've used for these don't reflect the gritty, like, criminal nature. It's like, there's no rubbish, the like, couch looks new, the walls are clean, they're not, like, stained yellow by, like, cigarette smoke. She looks, like, clean. Mm-hmm. He's wearing, like, go into the costume department and get Detroit criminal outfit, but it all looks new. So he's wearing denim on denim and it's black, and he's wearing like a shirt and like, you know, blue jeans. And then he is told to wait by his buddy in this like dodgy dinery place, like a bar.
Yeah, this makes no sense to me.
God, did it
so
make
this
no
guy
sense.
is like, yeah, don't worry, I'll get you sorted. Just meet me at this diner. And then Jimmy's waiting for him at the diner, and Jimmy is facing the bar at the counter at the diner, and the guy just like walks by the window and down an alleyway. Like, he doesn't even look in to see if Jimmy is looking at him. And it's just pure coincidence that Jimmy turns around and looks out the window at that time, because otherwise, like, none of this plan works. Because he's trying to lure him into an alleyway so 2 guys can, like, beat him up. But when he sees them, he runs and just gets hit by a car. It's unclear if it was planned, if it's just an accident, and then none of that's brought up again. Because then Jimmy's just, like, in a hospital bed, and his mom is there, and then the doctor comes in to talk to her about organ donation. She's like, what do you mean? And she's like, oh, your son's brain dead.
Yeah, your son is
Did
a
no one
vegetable.
tell you?
Did no one tell you your son is a vegetable?
It's just like, oh, Jesus.
It's so bizarre because, like, it is the sketchiest behavior. Like, I don't know... We clearly get glimpses of, like, you know, single mum raising a child in the inner city, clearly becomes, like, a criminal. His pull-out game is weak.
Also, he's only 21, which they only mentioned at the end of the movie.
Yeah. And you're like, cool, was like you said, like, were they taking him to the alleyway to beat him up or murder him? But we don't know, because they're like, oh, well, he got hit by a car, that's, I guess, good enough.
Yeah, and then they're just never seen again.
Yeah, never becomes a plot.
They don't try to chase down the mother or the girlfriend for the money.
No, they're just like, oh, well, job sorted, moving on.
Okay, he got hit by a car. Who called the ambulance? Did they?
Oh, gosh, we just murdered a kid. We were just going to break his legs.
We were just going to ask him nicely.
He had a poo break with money. It's so weird, because then the girlfriend shows up at the mum's house looking for Jimmy.
And the mum doesn't tell her that Jimmy
there
is
is no explanation that she's, one, his mum, and two, that he's a fucking vegetable that they're horrible.
She definitely knows she's his mom, because that's why she shows up at his house, at her house, and she's like, Jimmy hasn't come back, I don't know where he is. The whole time that the mum was like sitting by the bedside deciding whether to donate the organs or not, I was like, she knows he has a pregnant girlfriend, why is she not going to contact her? And then the pregnant girlfriend shows up and the mom's like, whatever, and then she goes into labor and she's like, oh, I'll bring her to the hospital. And when she gets to the hospital, the nurse is like, oh, how are you related to her? She's like, no, I don't know her. And then the nurse is like, she keeps asking for Jimmy, do you know who that is? And she's like, yeah, but he's gone. And no explanation, no like, yes, Jimmy is my son, the father of her baby, and the guy that you've just taken a heart out of.
Because guess what? I don't know how many people have been to hospitals recently. Even in the 2010s, you couldn't just walk into a random patient's room and comfort them while they're giving birth. Pretty sure you'll get tackled by an orderly.
Because she literally was like, because she acts like she's just a good Samaritan and brought this lady in.
Yeah.
And doesn't explain in any way what happened to Jimmy or who she is in relation to them. And then she does just walk in and decide to hold her hand. And it's only after she gives birth, the girl is like, Jimmy's not coming, is she? And she's like, or is he? And she's like, no. But she still doesn't say Jimmy is dead.
Yeah.
Jimmy has died.
Yeah, so from that girl's point of view, she just gave birth with a random lady.
No, she definitely knows it's the mother.
Okay.
She knows it's Jimmy's mother, that's why she went to her house to look for Jimmy.
You sure she knows?
Yes, because she lives with Jimmy. Jimmy doesn't live with the mother. So
then
she went...
How do they... She sleeps on a couch.
Yeah, she went to the mother to see if Jimmy was at his mother's house. So she knows it's the mother. The doctors are like, who are you, just a random woman off the street?
So, yeah, my point still stands. At no point in time during the scenes we see with the mother and the girlfriend does she explain the fact that Jimmy's dead.
Yeah.
So from her point of view, she is stuck with a woman she doesn't know very well.
Yeah.
And possibly the father of her child abandoning her and moving to Florida.
Yeah, she genuinely probably just thinks he's gone to Florida. Like, the mother just does not explain at any point.
And that's all we see.
Yeah, and then that's it. And that's like the redemption arc for the mother, because she was being shitty to Jimmy and shitty to the pregnant lady, and then she's like, oh, I'll go in and comfort her while she's giving birth.
To my grandchild.
Anyway, there's also a plot line about a helicopter pilot.
So
I just love
there's two pilots who have to work on graveyard shift.
One of them
Christmas.
is Santa and one of them is a Jewish man.
Yeah, one of them is Jewish.
It sounds like the beginning of a joke.
And he's got a cat and no family, and the other one is an African-American guy who's got a full family at home and is abandoning them to work on Christmas.
Apparently he does it every year.
And he dresses up like Santa.
Yeah.
Just in case they have to donate, like fly the helicopter. And of course, being that it's winter and Christmas time, when they go to transport said Jimmy's dead heart, well, Jimmy's dead Jimmy's said heart, to save the child in a town over, of course he's bought a plane. That's a plot. He's bought his own plane.
We're introduced to him first by him talking to his helicopter buddy about how he's bought a plane.
Yeah. Because it's like his whole, like, I'm getting out of this organ transport business to make my own.
And then there's, like, no helicopters, and he's like, don't worry.
Don't worry, I've got a fucking plane that I can clearly fly in this awful weather that's grounded a friggin' helicopter. Now, like, for those who don't know, majority of these people, right, it's very, very difficult. It's extremely expensive in most Western countries to become a pilot. You getting taught how to fly a plane, if you were like have the money, is pretty reasonably cheap. You're only paying for the instructor and the rental of the plane and the maintenance. What's the horribly expensive part is the fuel. Mm-hmm. Aviation fuel is not cheap. So a lot of people who are in the Air Force, who get taught how to fly planes and helicopters and the Navy as well, can then move into a life of commercial flight because they've already got their license, they're already trained and they've got no debt. It's very easy. A lot of people who move like heavy cargo planes for the military end up flying commercial planes and things like that.
Yep.
Fighter pilots move into this. It's a very common thing in the industry. You have to be extremely well off to be like, I'm going to go become a pilot, because you will spend $100,000 just to get your qualification on fuel alone.
Yeah.
How I know this, I met some people who were trying to become, who had tried to become pilots and failed because they couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
Commercial pilots, so like working for an airliner or transport company, and the advice they were given was join the Air Force or the Navy. You're going to get way easier off, right? Mm-hmm. You don't have to pay out for petrol out of your own, well, gas out of your own money. So clearly they could have like been old army. Like he definitely comes off as like, I was in the military.
Yeah.
He's in fantastic fitness. He's got a family at home. And he's young, enthusiastic, and he's just, and like the other guy is like the grizzled. So you've got that very like, buddy cop energy.
Yeah.
And that's how it feels like the entire thing. Like there's no explanation. I'm just writing extra plot for this movie.
Yeah.
But it does definitely feel like it fits his character that he's ex-military, and that's why he's like so happy to be in civilian world.
Yeah.
He's used to being away from his family because his family are used to it.
And so willing to like risk his life to
transport organs like in friggin' storms. Like the fact that he's dressed like Santa is just like the cherry on the top of this plot line.
Yeah.
Because the kid. We haven't even talked about how the kid...
I know, yeah. It's okay. We're currently in the zone of these are the weird subplots of the Christmas Heart. We will get to these are the things that are the same about these movies. Because these weird subplots don't exist in the Christmas Heart. No, sorry, in November Christmas, I mean.
It's So, the family, clearly an HOA... old grumpy, best friends. Everyone's lived there forever. Obviously, most of the kids have grown up. The Christmas Heart family moved in recently because they haven't been there that long in comparison to the people who are like semi-retired on the edge of retirement. And you have the kid playing basketball. And
he's got loads of trophies in his bedroom for like hockey and baseball and basketball, and there was more.
So he's just sports. Like generic copy and paste jock character.
Yeah.
Who's got this medical condition where he's got a thickening of his heart walls, and
that they don't know about until he collapsed at a basketball game 5 days before Christmas.
Basically, has a heart attack at 15, which is very sad. I understand, but the problem is the comedic timing and the plot lines of this movie don't make it impactful.
Right.
And he just sort of like falls over mid-game, and the dad's like on the phone as he's losing more clients.
Yeah. And
it's just like, and the younger kid who's like cheering him on is like actually watching the game, and then, Matt, is his name Matt? I don't remember. He just like collapses, and then they rush over, and as a person who's a trained first dater, you were a trained first
Mm-hmm.
You still trained first dater?
Mine's out of date.
Okay.
Get it renewed.
Here's one of the things they remind you of when you do your research, folks. Most people don't act.
Yeah.
They are bystanders. Most people in other people's lives are bystanders. You see someone fall over, you don't instantly rush over and help, especially in these situations.
You expect someone else is going to do it.
So there's a case that was just shown to me because it was caught on video.
Is this the woman in the...
There was the young girl in the basketball netball game.
Oh, no, that's not the one I've seen. Okay.
So... that's all about, when you're the first dater, you have to take charge of the situation.
Yeah.
You rush in, tell everyone to back off, and you point at one person in particular, and you go, you contact emergency services and get back to me when you get a hold of them.
Yeah.
You then assess the person who's injured, and you determine how you need to treat them by putting them in the recovery position, providing first aid. They've obviously, in the doctor's ABCs, they've added on the thing about telling someone to go get the defib machine, because statistically adults do not survive. Kids, from standard CPR, kids do recover quite quickly because children are more resilient than adults, because usually when an adult has an accident like that is usually heart attack or an injury that is catastrophic.
It's also the statistics. So the statistics on CPR actually reviving someone they seem low, but then you have to think about what it actually is. So it's 4 to 6%, I believe.
Yeah, it's
people
really low.
Actually get resuscitated, but when you consider that what CPR is manually restarting someone's heart after they
manually keeping it going.
But you don't perform CPR on someone who is alive.
You perform CPR on dead people.
Yes, it's the person has died.
Yeah, because if they're alive and you're doing CPR, they are going to tell you, because you are going to break some ribs, folks. If you don't break somebody's ribs doing CPR, your CPR technique is wrong.
Yeah.
It is literally the most brute force thing you can do to somebody. You are physically forcing their chest to compress on their heart, to move blood through their body, and then providing that body with oxygen by forcing air into their lungs.
Yeah.
So what happens in situations like this, which isn't reflected in this movie because it fades to black, is a lot of people will just stop and stare and be like, other people are going to do this. And it requires a first aider who's confident and trained to run into the situation and be like, back off. I'm going to assess the person. You call emergency services. You find me a defib. I don't know how available they were in the 2010s. I don't remember. I think they were very rare because they were expensive, and they still are expensive. But you get subsidies for them. You buy in bulk and stuff like that. And there is a video that I was shown which stuck with me. So a girl collapses in a sports game. There are 100 people in there, and they spend the entire time arguing about not moving her or moving her, that she literally dies, and no one actually physically helps her. No one had called emergency services. No one ascertained if she was conscious, she was unconscious, she was breathing, she wasn't breathing, and she literally dies in front of the parents because everyone is having that bystander mentality.
Yeah.
When it came to and it is not shown in this movie because the dad rushes in and it's they're call 911, and then fades to black.
Yeah.
And then he's in hospital, getting, he's on life support thingy, and they're oh, his heart's all messy. Gotta fix it by giving him a new heart. And, then you get I know where it's coming from. The criminal with the heart of gold.
Yes. Jimmy the
Crim. It's such a weird, And then, of course, the boy makes a wish about how Santa's going to bring him a heart for Christmas to revive his brother.
Yeah, and of course that
happens. And of course the organ transplant guy is dressed like Santa, because of course he is.
Yeah. So let's get into the similarities in these movies. I feel like we've talked about The Christmas Heart a lot. Obviously, a big difference is that, as we just mentioned, in The Christmas Heart, the kid was athletic and apparently had nothing wrong with him, and then just collapsed, and it turns out he has a heart defect. In November Christmas, it's a little girl with cancer. Her family has just moved to this neighborhood 5 months ago, so they don't really know everyone yet, and they haven't shared with people that she's sick. Sam Elliott pieces it together because it's set originally in August, and the dad is looking for pumpkins to do Halloween, and then a week later or whatever, he's looking for Christmas trees, and Sam Elliott goes, because he has experienced losing a child because his son died when he was 15. He says to his wife, played by Karen Allen, I think that little girl is sick. I think he's trying to bump up the holidays so that he can make sure she has them. And she's like, oh. And then it turns out that is correct. Because he gets his grumpy friend to go get pumpkins out of season and leaves him at the thing. And he goes back to his wife and he's like, they're planning a Halloween party. And she's like, oh, you were right.
Yeah.
But it's, so it's a difference in that they're dealing with like a long-standing illness that has its ups and downs, because they talk about, she's going in for tests on platelet counts, things like that. But they both are about this child who is sick. I was going to say at Christmas. It's not actually at Christmas, in November Christmas, as indicated by the name.
Yeah.
But is sick and wants to, experience Christmas, and they both have a younger brother who is, hoping for them to make it to Christmas. They both have, their parents are, in both movies, are kind of doing the beginning stages of, there's a statistic, I can't remember the exact percentage, but it's a pretty high percentage of parents of a child who has passed end up divorcing as a result of it, because they just can't handle it. And in both these movies, the parents are in those beginning stages of like having differing beliefs, and then in both cases it's like the mother is trying to believe that they're going to get through this and the kid's going to be okay, and the father is maybe saying that but not really believing it, and it causes conflict between them, that she thinks, oh, you think our child is going to die,
It's funny because, like, the relationship between the two of them, it doesn't start that way. He's like, oh, she should do stuff, she should go back to school, she should at least go to the teachers and meet the class.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, she's like, don't take her out, don't take her to the farm to see Jess, who's Sam Elliott. Don't do these things because she's too weak, she's like too tired, her body's trying to recover. Yeah,
it's very much the mother is trying to be practical and say, we need the child to focus on her health and get better. The dad is saying in November Christmas, the dad is saying she needs to do these things to like feel normal and whatever. But what it turns out he's actually doing is he's worried she's not going to experience these things and she's going to die without having experienced them.
And it's so interesting because you brought up a really funny point to me when we were watching the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was in the script or just you picked it up and no one had caught it. She was talking about the fact that she's not going to school the next year. She's going to be homeschooled by the mum.
Yeah.
And in that sequence, she uses terrible grammar.
Yeah.
And you were like, how dare you homeschool this child? Because clearly
earlier on in the movie, she corrects the child's grammar.
Yeah.
And then she uses incorrect grammar herself.
Yeah, and it's not like the best environment because obviously Gordy, the younger brother, is getting to do all these things that the sister isn't. And it's sort of like, there's no sibling rivalry between the two of them, which I found, because I feel like Gordo's at that age where he's just like constantly bombarding his parents with questions. And it's one of those things you have to realize as a parent is I see a lot of young parents, well, not even young parents, just parents in sort of my generation who find this behavior frustrating. And it must wear you down eventually.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like the reason kids ask questions is because they don't actually know. They're not being
and
annoying.
They want to understand the world.
The world they live in.
And what's funny is that, like, sometimes kids ask fantastic questions that you're like, actually, I've never considered that, and I don't know the answer. It's you need to be able to say, like, actually, I don't know that. Let's research it together or whatever. Let's find out the answer to that question, rather than trying to be dismissive or trying to, like, maintain your ego by being like, that's too complicated for you.
It's also very dangerous because if you curb a child's, curiosity for the world, you're putting them on a path that they probably will never recover from, and then they'll enter, late stage of school where they actually have to do their own research and being like, this is dumb, not going to do that.
Yeah, you gotta encourage that curiosity, but also I can understand being a parent with a sick child and having to deal with your other child asking all these questions, because you're already putting all of your mental energy into let's get through this big problem. The other thing, as we mentioned, that's similar is that there's, a similar dynamic in terms of the neighbors. So it's much more rural in November Christmas, but in both cases, the neighborhood they're in, there's this, like, older couple who are kind of friends with everyone, and as you said, almost like de facto leaders of the neighborhood. And they have the grumpy old guy who they were formerly friends with, but have kind of fallen out with, just like fallen out of touch with, not like in an angry way, after the death of his wife. And then in both cases, the community tries to come together to help the family. So in Christmas Heart, they're all like communicating about it and they know what's going on, and then they're sitting there with the child, which is ridiculous to me. Like, he should have been in another room, but also he comes up with the plan. They're debating whether to do their kind of big Christmas lighting ceremony, because they've lined the whole street with these lights that they normally, light these candles. They have like a whole opening ceremony or whatever, and they're debating, do we do it? Do we just go on as normal? Do we cancel Christmas because this kid's in hospital? And the little brother says, can we wait till he's coming home and then light it up to bring him home? And then that ends up being a whole plot point, because he decides to go out and just start doing it when they think the heart's not coming in, and then that ends up being how the plane lands.
My God. So the kids are like, no, I refuse. He's going to make it. And then he, like, runs outside and he can't light it. The first time I've ever seen a child not be able to commit arson. Where did he get the lighter from? And
then the grumpy guy comes out.
And then the melted Tom Hanks comes out and, like, helps him. And then they light the entire street. And then, of course, like, at the same time, the airport they're trying to land in is snowed in. So they use the street. Oh,
yeah, but that's why he goes out and lights it. No, he doesn't go out and light it thinking that the plane's going to land there. But he goes out, he runs out because people are saying, oh no, the heart's not coming because the airport's closed because of this power outage in the storm. And then the kid's like, no, that can't be it. And then it turns out that in lighting this up, he actually creates exactly what the pilot needs to...
Die Hard 2.
Yeah, literally it's Die Hard 2. I thought that someone was going to be like, hey, maybe if we do this, they can land. But no, it's just like random, like, no, I'm going to do this. And then it's like,
and then, of course, the pilot gets out, dressed like friggin' Santa. And is like, we've got a heart to deliver.
And they're like, is it for this kid? He's like, and then he just turns to the doctor and is like, is it?
Yeah.
In November Christmas, it starts off more subtle, because Sam Elliott puts two and two together that this kid is sick and the family's trying to bump up the holidays for them. So the family are just trying to have like a let's throw a Halloween party, just the four of us, and Sam Elliott and the one teenager in town work together to get like this just army of kids.
Yeah.
I guess like everyone who would have been in the same class as the two kids in the family. In Halloween costumes in the middle of August to go to their house for this party, and then they do the like they all celebrate Christmas early so that this kid can have a Christmas, and it's very sweet. It's very much that they coming together to be like, hey, you don't even need to ask me for this help. I can see you're struggling. I know this seems to be what you need, and I'm going to do my best to help you. I don't need any thanks for it. Which is nice.
The problem with November Christmas is, despite the cast being massive, and it's crazy, the cast is crazy. You got Sam Elliott, you got Karen Allen, you got John Corbett, you got Sarah Paulson, right? Those are like not... You may not recognize the names other than maybe Sam Elliott, but if you looked at these people, you'd be like, oh yeah, I know that person. I've seen them in other movies before. Yep. Sam Elliott just acts the shit out of everybody. Like, he is, like, literally, he is Gandalf, just surrounded by hobbits the entire time.
Yeah, I think Karen Allen does a good job.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of play between her, and the scenes she's in, she's, like, clearly, like, in the forefront. Yeah. Sarah Paulson's character, Beth, the mother whose, kid's dying, seems to want her to get out of every, like, I may be part of the character, but it just felt like every single scene she's in, she's trying to get out of it. Like, she's trying to get her dialogue out so she can stop talking, and stop interacting with people. And it's so weird because when Claire, who's Karen Allen, who's Jesse's wife, is Sam Elliott's wife, bumps into her, she's like, hey, look, if you ever need anything. And she's just like, yeah, no, everything's fine. And then walks around the corner and bumps into a mum who obviously is a mother of another child who goes to the same school. And it's just like, no, everything's fine. Yeah. No, I'm done talking, bye. And you're like, she's not willing to open up. And I feel like the way it would have been written, it would have been like she's trying to force down all of her emotions. She's trying to, like, suppress it all because she's literally on breaking point, and she doesn't want to talk to anybody because if she literally starts talking about how her daughter's doing, she's going to snap. And it really comes out when she's interacting with her husband, it comes out as anger, which they're not healthy. I feel like we're doing cinema therapy right now. I'm not a qualified anything.
I have zero qualifications.
I'm not even vaccinated. No, I am. And yeah, it's just it's such an awkward sequence, and it's so weird because Sam Elliott, because he's just like awesome, he's just going around and fixing other people's problems because he is broken himself. And he feels like friggin' Gandalf. Yeah. He's just walking into everywhere and being like, hello, young parents. Let me solve your problem with your children. Me and this guy that we haven't spoken to in ages are going to drive to another state to fill my entire truck with pumpkins and then sleep in bunk beds. And that sequence is so weird because they're like, oh, no, you should stay over. Oh, it turns out the grumpy guy's dating somebody 2 states over. Yep. And is going to, like, spoilers, like, well, I've already spoiled half the movie.
He spoiled the whole movie.
I'll spoil the whole movie. Is, like, going to ask her to marry her, like, later on in the movie. Is just like, oh, I'm really happy you found somebody else because, you being unhappy about, relationship, and we're all assuming you're living in the past, and just, like, because he's just focusing heavily on work and being miserable about it. We don't know it's because he's away from this other person. Yeah. There's a weird sequence. It's like, oh no, we've already made dinner. Oh no, you should stay here. And the 2 kids look at each other like, where are we sleeping? Yeah. Because they go and sleep in the boys' room. And it's like, thanks, Mum and Dad. Like, and they're sleeping in bunk beds with Sam Elliott's feet, like, from his knees down, are like hanging over the bed. It's such a bizarre sequence.
That's definitely, like, a thing that happens, though. Yeah. I definitely had Christmases where it was like, oh, this family member is going to stay, and I just, okay, I guess I'm sleeping in the attic today, that happens.
Can't sleep, rats will eat me. Yeah, it's so weird. But he just, like, goes through this entire movie being the center of attention, fixing everybody else's problems. And he goes to see troubled teenage girl archetype. And he's all like, oh...
That's her official name in the movie, troubled teenage girl archetype.
And she's like, oh, I didn't know you hung out here too. And he's like, well, actually, my son hung out here before you did. Yeah. And he used to skate on this pond. It was like, it looks like stagnant water, and it's just like, yeah, this freezes over, and he used to skate on it. And it's like, words of wisdom to her, and she, like, changes her whole attitude as well. And it's so weird that he just goes around and solves everybody's problems. And I feel like it was originally written. Like, the script feels like it was originally written where the main character was Sam Elliott. Mm-hmm. And just other things just happen to him and he goes and solves everybody's problem like fucking Gandalf and Batman mixed together. My favourite part of Sam Elliott's character is she returns home being this, I guess, famous children's writer.
Yeah.
With her one book that's just an autobiography.
And he's made her whole family hide amongst Christmas trees and then lights them up one by one.
The scene where they were like, cool, Sam Elliott looks like he's an old school cowboy from when I remember Sam Elliott in movies to now when he's in newer movies. He still looks like he hasn't aged.
Yeah.
So the only way the makeup department could age Sam Elliott like 15 years or 20...
15 years.
15 years older is they just put white streaks in his eyebrows. And they're like, yep, he's clearly aged 15
He's old
years.
now.
Everybody else gets like the full like age up treatment.
Yeah, a whole new actor for the son. And
yeah. And the daughter and just like, oh, let's just put grey streaks in everybody else's hair. And they're like, shit, Sam Elliott's already grey hair. Already looks like he's made of like hardened leather. Let's just fucking put some streaks in his eyebrows. Done. Like he looks younger than he does in other scenes in the movie.
One more thing I want to talk about is just because I saw one of my notes and I was like, oh yeah, and then I was like, actually I can compare that in the movies. Weird toys.
Oh my god.
Oh
my god, I'd forgotten about that as you mentioned it.
So there's a whole thing in November Christmas where the girl who's dying is given
her first ever snow globe
she's given a snow globe at the beginning of it, and she doesn't know what a snow globe is, and they're like, you gotta shake it for this. And then like it's just like infinite snow globes.
Yeah.
Because the snow globe is of a little girl holding a snow globe. And in that snow globe, she gets like a magnifying glass. In that snow globe, there's another little girl holding a snow globe, and it just keeps going down. I don't know how someone could possibly have designed the snow globe.
Yeah.
It makes absolutely no sense. And then obviously, at the end or towards the end of the movie, it starts snowing, and she magically dresses exactly like the girl in the snow globe and goes outside and holds the snow globe in the snow.
Yeah.
So she's just like another iteration of this snow globe.
She's the outer simulation version.
The other movie. The younger brother,
the
younger brother apparently has a habit of making Megatron, who is a toy that is not Megatron or in any way related to Transformers. It's just some gold guy that everyone refers to as Megatron repeatedly throughout the movie for no reason. And Megatron fights one of the wise men from the Nativity, and that's what he does every year apparently. And then he leaves he brings Megatron, in air quotes, not real Megatron, and the wise man to the brother's bedside while the brother's like in a coma waiting for a heart transplant, and then he leaves the wise man there and then is like, that's what saved my brother.
It's so bizarre. I don't know if I should say this. The fighting doesn't look like fighting.
Oh, yes.
It looks disturbing is what it looks like.
Is the wise man kneeling?
Yeah.
And the wise man is repeatedly hitting his head off a part of the body of Megatron.
Yeah.
That is like,
if a child psychologist saw that, would be like, hey,
where did you see this happen?
We have to talk about your kid.
It's like, what do you think fighting is, child?
So your Megatron is like a golden god, Xerxes, like...
I don't understand why they all refer to it as Megatron. Just continuously... Did they write the script with planning for him to get a Megatron doll, and then it just were like, oh, we don't have one, just use this thing, and just didn't change the dialogue? It's like, it's Megatron.
It's not even like the scene of like, stop playing that Nintendo... when you've got a PlayStation.
Yeah.
It's not even that.
No, because he calls it Megatron, the mom calls it Megatron, everyone refers to this toy as Megatron. And I did, like, the note that I saw in my thing was just like, this kid has no idea who Megatron is. But I don't understand the Megatron thing. Why call it Megatron? Just make up a name for the doll. If you just got some, like, generic golden guy.
Yeah. Stop making...
Why are you calling it Megatron?
The wise man being forcibly...
Because I was like, oh, did they plan for it to be Megatron doll and then it was a copyright with Hasbro, but then like
why were you still using
why were they still calling it Megatron?
Yeah.
So a snow globe and a wise man save these kids. Yeah, because she literally goes out into the snow with the snow globe, and then it cuts her as an adult being like, and then I survived, and I never had to go to hospital again, and everything was better.
I never got cancer ever again.
And then one of the kids is like, is that true? And she's like, no, I went back to hospital, but I'm okay now.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, you just lied. This movie was a lie.
It should have been left ambiguous.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have been like, oh, we don't know if it's like the girl who was involved in this, like, the rehabilitation and they lost the little girl. You don't know. Like, they should have... Because I know it's like a Hallmark movie, but, like, there's no... If you know she's going to live, there is none of the other...
They could still have her live.
Yeah.
But then, you know, have it be like the woman telling the story at the end of the story is like, and this is a true story about me. And they're all like, whoa. Like, she didn't need to come in and be like, hi everyone, here's a story about how I survived Christmas, or how I survived cancer at Christmas in November.
Hey, how I survived Christmas by getting cancer.
Oh no. It's also never actually explained how she gets better, because
also what kind of cancer she has.
Yeah, she just has low platelets is the only thing they say about it ever, is that her platelet count is low.
Yeah.
And then they're like, and now she's in the snow and she's survived because she has a magic snow globe that has infinite children in it.
Yeah.
And she will be immortal.
All children have cancer inside the snow globe.
She will be immortal because now she is part of the snow globe.
Yeah. It's like Jumanji.
I was going to say it's like that. What's the show where it turned out that it was all in a snow globe?
Something House of Imaginary Friends?
No,
it's not that.
No. Hang on, no.
It's
Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, someone made a joke that was going to be the same as this other show. No, There was a real sitcom in like the 80s, and it turned out at the end of it was all in the imagination of an autistic child looking in a snow globe, except that show had so many crossovers so that like 90% of sitcoms and even like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, stuff like this, like from like early 80s to late or mid 2000s, like all took place in this kid's mind looking at a snow globe.
Yeah. I don't remember the shows.
I was going to say Saint Elsewhere, but that might just be one of the many things that was included in it. But it's a whole thing. It's like a crazy... There's like a crazy amount of TV shows that technically in canon will occur in this one kid's mind while he's looking at a snow globe. Because
Googling it.
Because one show decided to make that their cop-out ending of their show. Which is kind of funny, but also like insane. But I just thought that's what this movie was going to do. It was going to be like, oh, it was just her imagining what the girl in the snow globe was.
Still trying to find Google.
Oh, I thought you hadn't.
I'm getting there.
You're getting there.
It's hard when you don't remember everything.
Autistic child, snow globe.
Yeah, that probably won't bring up a lot of good answers. Tommy Wiseau universe.
Tommy Westfall is the name of the kid. Yeah, it was Saint Elsewhere. I actually remembered it, which is insane.
Yeah.
So he was a minor character in Saint Elsewhere, and it turns out that like technically everything in the show happened. They just like copped out of it at the end of the show. Everything in the show happened inside this kid's imagination while he was looking at a snow globe,
including the X-Files.
Yeah. There's so many things, so many different shows that cross over with it and with each other that like it expands. Like I think the entirety of Law and Order.
Yeah.
Like every Law and Order show. So it's continuing because some of those Law and Order shows are still going on in Tommy Westfall's imagination. Yeah, it's genuinely insane the extent to which it expands just based on. I just can't, like, every other show writer must have been so annoyed.
Oh, yeah.
That, like, they did crossovers with the show, and then the show was like, oh, yeah, this was all in this kid's imagination. And you're like, what do you mean? You can't put my show in this kid's imagination. That's not how this works. But I guess it is.
Yeah.
He's really, I mean, the kid has got quite a wild imagination, I guess. It expands all these different universes. I think all of Star Trek might be in there.
I think there's references to it in Doctor Who as well. Who knows?
Yeah, it's crazy. There was something that did a crossover with Star Trek, I think.
Yeah.
And then because all the Star Treks are connected,
yeah,
it means that all of Star Trek happened in this kid's imagination.
Oh, except maybe no, because they're all even the Kelvin timeline. That's interesting. Where were we? Yeah, that's sort of just
We've gone on a total tangent.
I think we should just move on. I don't think I can think of anything else that I'd wanted to cover off looking at these movies.
Yeah, and I think I've already talked about all the trivia I had because there wasn't a lot. I'll double check, but I think we talked about where they were filmed. Yeah, the only other thing that I hadn't mentioned was I mentioned that it was The Christmas Heart was filmed in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Yeah.
But apparently they had unseasonably warm weather at the time, so they had to make fake snow to make it look like winter.
Let's hope they didn't make the same fake snow they did for some of the older movies.
Asbestos?
Yeah.
I would hope not.
Yeah. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share it with somebody you know. Put it into a group chat with no context so someone listens to it. It really helps because paying people bots to share our thing is not a feasible thing to do.
I was going to say, we have not at any point paid bots to share our podcast.
That's what I'm saying.
You're like, paying bots is just taking too much of our money. We have never paid bots.
Yeah.
And do remember that this podcast exists entirely inside the imagination of Tommy Westfall.
Including you.
We are not real people. If you are listening to this, you too may be a figment of Tommy Westfall's imagination.
You are the third layer down in the infinite snow globe.
I wonder how many films we've covered actually technically take part in that. Because there must be some.
God.
Gonna do some research.
Any references to any of the other things that exist in the other thing. So anything that references Star Trek, Doctor Who,
do you think Galaxy Quest? Do you think Galaxy Quest is in the Tommy Westfall universe?
Possibly.
Gonna have to do some research on this, guys. All right.
If you've enjoyed this episode, you can go to our website. It's called
ittakes2.co.nz.
Lisa made it herself. Real blood, sweat, and tears in Squarespace.
Yeah.
Not sponsored.
I posted my blood to Squarespace.
Yeah. They were like, please stop.
Please. Squarespace sent me a cease and desist order because I keep sending them my blood and my sweat and my tears. Yeah. Just mixed together in a little vial.
I think that's a biohazard.
Happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Chrysler.
Merry Crisis.
Yeah.
We've got 2 more Christmas episodes coming.
Thank you. Time.
Neither of which will be
Christmas
Hallmark related.
We've
next
done 2
one
in a row.
Our next
at
one
the same time
is a fun episode, and it's going to be interesting, I think.
I have no idea what it is.
And then the one after that will be just like a classic Christmas episode.
Because, spoiler alert, it's November.
Yeah, we are recording this in November. We're actually recording this before the last episode, so I don't know how that one went.
Yeah.
But it's going to be the first time, I think, that we could talk about the next episode knowing exactly what that episode is, because we have already recorded it.
I have no idea what any episode is.
Well, the episode before this, which we haven't recorded yet, includes a movie that we have to see in cinema.
Yeah.
Which hasn't been released at the time of recording.
And it's not a spoiler because it's already happened.
Yeah, you guys have already listened to it. Time travel.
Yeah.
Anyway, 2 more Christmas episodes to come. And they should be interesting.
We'll catch you hopefully then.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.